Hello, everybody. This is Fred Nwankwo again, coming to you from our studios in Chicago with another edition of Bold Talk on Allen TV. And today we are not being as bold as we are being objective, but it's a combination of both. And the election has kicked off in earnest. Now it's time to start measuring the candidates by the things they do, not the things that their mouthpieces come out to tell us. It's time to hold the candidates accountable. And I'll start that accountability out on this note. Or maybe let me summarize the things I'll be addressing today and then I'll start out. I'd like to address Bola Ahmed Tinubu and his ability at this stage in his life to plan accordingly. And when I say plan accordingly, when I get there, you're going to see what I mean. Then I'd like to address Peter Obi and his availability and how good that is and how bad that could be. Then I'd like to address issues that concern united Nigerians and lack thereof. And on that note, I'll be talking about Shetima, the vice president of Bola Ahmed Tinubu. I'm going to show you some videos and some sound bites about him. And then you tell me if that's the person you want to be united Nigeria, because he's going to be one heartbeat away from being the president of Nigeria if certain things happen. Then we have to address the press, the Nigerian mainstream press. The mainstream press is doing the best they can. I'm not trying to criticize them, but I also want them to dig a little deeper into their consciences when they question certain candidates and the things they do and say, and tend to ignore or cut a slack to other candidates who are not doing exactly the same thing. Now, let's start out with the first thing that I mentioned, which is the need for the three major candidates we think are going to be the ones who emerge at the end to contest for the presidency, which will be Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Peter Obi, and Abubakar Atiku. And planning. It was okay before the election kicked off to have excuses why the candidates cannot come out and be where they're expected to be. At the peace accord yesterday, Peter Obi was there, Atiku Abubakar was there, many other candidates that think it's important were there, but Bola Ahmed Tinubu was not there. He was away in London. And like he did at the Bar Association conference, he sent his vice presidential candidate to represent him. Folks, Bola Ahmed Tinubu is not even the president of Nigeria yet. He hasn't started dealing with the rigors of the office, and he's hardly able to come out and represent the way the other candidates are representing. Now, let's have this in mind. When it comes to this campaign and Bola Ahmed Tinubu running for president in 2023, to date, you could say that he has made three major decisions that are decisions that put him in a place for Nigerians to see what his priorities are and who he will be serving if he becomes president. The first decision Bola Ahmed Tinubu made was to pick a vice presidential candidate. In a country that is more or less 50-50 divided down the center, Christians and Muslims. But more importantly, in a country where over the last 10 years, there has been a lot of conflicts between Christians and Muslims, and the conflicts have resulted in Muslims killing Christians out of control and unmanaged. Bola Ahmed Tinubu's first quote-unquote presidential decision was to pick a northern Muslim to be his vice presidential candidate, knowing that he himself is a Muslim. Per se, a Christian ticket or a Muslim ticket where everything is equal may not be a problem. But when the Muslim you picked is one who goes on record to be very decisive, very discriminating, and more or less taking photos and having lunch with Boko Haram, Nigerians should question Bola Ahmed Tinubu's ability to make decisions in a way that it brings all Nigerians along and unite Nigerians. The next decision Bola Ahmed Tinubu made was that he would not attend the Bar Association conference, that he'll send his surrogate, his vice presidential candidate. The other major candidates and more were there live to answer questions from Nigerians. Now you could say that up to that point, that the election has not kicked off. As of 2 days ago, the election officially kicked off. The kickoff of the election was not a last-minute decision. But Bola Ahmed Tinubu decides to be in London while the election in Nigeria is kicking off, and he's not there to answer questions from Nigerians. The initial report was that he was getting treatment. I'll be the last one to criticize a person, young or old, for going out to get treatment. But the reason I bring this issue up is that in line with their typical boju that APC does to Nigeria, they sent out their people to manage the goof. And one of them has the guts to tell Nigerians that Bola Ahmed Tinubu is not in London for treatment. Thank God. I'm happy about that. But now what he said is that he's in London to rest because he can't get any rest in Lagos or Abuja. So Bola Ahmed Tinubu couldn't leave to go and get his rest the last month. it's on the day or just before the election kickoff that he left to go and get his rest. I say all these to tell you guys that presidential decision making requires good judgment. And so far, from the primaries to date, Bola Ahmed Tinubu has not shown good judgment in his decision-making process as to his campaign for the presidency in 2023. I'm going to take a break here and play you the sound bites from Bola Ahmed Tinubu's vice presidential candidate so that you could measure and ask yourself, is this the man you want to be your vice president and possibly your president? And I'll also play the sound bites from the APC person that came to defend Bola Ahmed Tinubu's decision to be out of the country as the campaign was kicking off. Just listen.
Elon Musk is talking about constricting the journey from London to New York to 31 minutes. But unfortunately, the topical issue in Nigeria is restructuring. Restructuring my foot. To hell with restructuring.
What Oba of Lagos said that we are pushing them to the ocean. Most of these markets that are banning in Lagos, look at it, they are Igbo-dominated markets. You get me? In fact, some Yorubas were telling me when I was in Lagos last weekend that it is we, the Northerners, when we are in charge of Lagos as federal capital, that open room for Igbos to come and dominate them. And it's over now. And it's over. All the businesses Igbos are doing, we are going to bring it and do it. Do you get me? That's why Buhari have to sign that Lagos is going to be given special status. We are going to have a kind of semi-regional system. Lagos is going to have special status. It means nobody again will control Lagos. The indigenes of Lagos are the ones that are going to control Lagos. They can form land policies. Do you get me? They may decide to say, you as a Yoruba man in Lagos, you will pay 5,000 naira per annum for a land. As naira. Me as a Hausa man, I will pay 10,000 naira. Igbo man will pay 1 million naira. This is why they are heading to war. And I'm telling you, after 4 years, at least not we are liberal, but in the Southwest, after 4 years, Igbos can never be useful, relevant again in the Southeast. Wait and see. In fact, the plan of APC is that they are going to make alliance of Northwest economic development. The West has the ocean. Can you hear me?
Yes.
The North has agricultural produce.
Yes.
So what they are going to do, the government is going to develop all the agricultural and mineral resources in the North. And then they will put primary industries here. And then go and export, finally finish them in Lagos or Southwest and export them and bring back the money and share it between the two regions. Let them drink their oil. This is the plan on ground.
Right. So the big elephant in the room of a question, where is your presidential candidate Bola Ahmed Tinubu?
Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu is in London.
What's he doing in London?
Exactly. What's he doing in London? He cannot rest in Lagos. They will not let him rest. So he came into Abuja most of the time. They will still not let him rest. This man has been working for an average of 20 hours in the 24 hours in each day. So reasonable people thought, okay, you need to leave this country because they will not let you rest. The campaign is coming soon. You will not even have any time. So as to have proper...
So you're saying the campaign is coming soon. The campaign has started.
Yeah, it has started.
You would have thought he'd taken his break before the campaign.
Well, that is the issue. We thought he could take the break by coming to Abuja. But they're not letting him take the break. And as I speak with you, the issue of today that is being made a big issue with, the invitation for the peace accord came after he has left the country. He's in his house in London. He's not in any hospital. People need to stop this. He has been reported that he was sick, he couldn't run for the primaries. You know what happened the moment the primaries ended? This man went to every aspirant. And in the last couple of weeks before he traveled, he has been everywhere from Gombe to Bauchi to Oyo to Ogun State. He's gone everywhere. So, and he's been receiving too many visitors.
Right.
But people around thought, look, you need to rest.
But again, clarify this point, and I don't want to belabor the point.
All right, Charles.
But he was absent from something as crucial as today's event,
But I just explained to you
which is
that
a peace accord
the
that the ruling
invitation
party
came
should
after
be seen spearheading along with its
the
candidate.
invitation came after he has left the country. There's nothing we could do about that.
But shouldn't he have been here to launch his political campaign? I mean, let's just be clear on that, because you've got all the leading candidates. They're all here at the kickoff of the campaign.
Okay, Nigerians, you've heard what his spin doctors told us about why he left Nigeria and why he's in London. He's perfectly healthy. We hope he is. But one thing is clear. If he's perfectly healthy, what's he doing in London as the campaign is kicking off? And I'll tell you what he's doing in London if he's perfectly healthy. But I don't think he's perfectly healthy. He's in London because he thinks Nigerians owe him. And he's doing us a favor to be around to participate in all these things. Because he thinks that Nigeria is Lagos. The last election in Edo State, the Edo voters made it clear to him that Edo no be Lagos. In February 2023, Nigerians must go out to the polls and once and for all make Bola Ahmed Tinubu understand that Nigeria no be Lagos. What he did there, assuming he's not getting treatment, but we know what he's getting, it's exactly what he does in Lagos. And the people in Lagos go bowing to him and kissing his ass. Nigerians must not bow to this man. Let him earn our votes if he's going to be president. But he must be given a run for his money. And it starts with Nigeria's mainstream press. They are not asking him the questions. I don't know if they're scared of him or they just assume that Nigeria owes him something and they dare not ask him. But on social media, with shows like Bull Talk on Allen TV, we will keep asking. And we're not only asking him, we are asking Nigeria's press. But you also heard his vice presidential candidate, Shetima, Bola Ahmed Tinubu's vice presidential candidate. He wants to be vice president of Nigeria, not vice president of Borno State or vice president of northern Nigeria. The reason Nigeria is in a mess is that over the last 40 years, probably the first 20, it was ignored. But especially over the last 20 years, and most especially over the last 8 years, the bane of the problem Nigeria has is inequity, unfairness in decision making, and blatant, outright, don't give a damn attitude from leadership about the sufferings of Nigerians that are stemming from insecurity, a country that the structure does not favor the whole entity, and your vice president, the man who has hopes of being your vice president, said to hell with restructuring. Who gives a damn about restructuring? We're going to keep Nigeria exactly the way it is. Anybody who doesn't like it can go to hell. I'm paraphrasing, but you saw the video. So I'm not saying anything I suspect. Then I also played the audio message. That was not a video because you didn't see him talking. I played that so that you could compare the voices and compare the accentuation and compare the style of talking. A very funny comedian once said about Babangida trying to insinuate things, said, I'm not going to say that it's Babangida. I'm just going to say that it's Baba. If you like, you can add Ngida. That's your problem. That's the position I'm taking with that audio tape that I just played and the man Shetima who wants to be a vice president. My speculation, my suspicion, but I did not do any authentic voice testing. But from what I hear, the person on that audio is the man who wants to be a vice president. And the reason I bring that up leads me to Nigeria's press. When it's convenient for Nigeria's mainstream press, they'll run with a story even without proper investigation. And 8 times out of 10, the story is right. So I'm not criticizing the fact that they are running the story before it's fully investigated. They ran it because their judgment told them that if it smells like a rat, it walks like a rat, or it smells like a duck, walks like a duck, and quacks like a duck, it's a duck. I've been following mainstream Nigeria media since this electioneering campaign started unofficially, now officially. This audio message has been around for about 7 years. It's very hateful, it's very discriminating, and it's very conniving. And I'm still waiting for a major Nigerian media outlet to play that tape in an interview with Shetima and play it in an interview with Bola Ahmed Tinubu and have them categorically say that that voice is not Shetima talking. And also to take the video, the short video where it's his voice, his face, his talk, and play it for them and have them tell Nigerians why a man with this kind of discriminatory feeling about the rest of the country should nurse ambitions to hold a national office. I say this because if that was Peter Obi, or if that was Omoyele Sowore, or if that was Mogalo, or any of the other candidates that are not of the mainstream, the old mainstream, because right now the mainstream is Peter Obi, whether you want to admit it or not. If that was Peter Obi who made the choice of Dati Ahmed, and he said those damning things that Shetima said, the press will not stop running it. And I keep cutting the press a slack and saying, I don't think they are doing it out of spite or out of bias. I think they are doing it because it's convenient for them to pick on Peter Obi and Dati Ahmed. But they are scared of Abubakar Atiku and, of course, the Lord on Bodilon, the untouchable. They have to tread softly when they ask him questions so he doesn't cut them off from some freebies they may be getting from him or hoping to get from him. Yes, what I'm saying is very damning. And I say it to rabble dazzle. I say it to make Nigeria's press, not all of them, but I don't want to be discriminating and mention a few names and leave some. But there are some, and they know themselves. Some on Arise TV, some on Channels TV, that have the guts. And I thank them without mentioning names. But I know quite a few on Arise TV and Channels TV whose job is to go out and kiss ass and call themselves press people. It's not fair. Our country is burning. We need to rescue our country. And it starts with the press and the honesty of the press. Now, let me go on to Mr. Peter Obi. Mr. Peter Obi needs to understand that you cannot please everybody, but you can only focus on doing the right thing, but doing it in a way that it doesn't hurt you. If I were advising Peter Obi, would say, remain available with the press, but don't make yourself too available to the press. The reason being that a presidential candidate the caliber of Peter Obi, and he's got everything it takes to be an ex-president, and if this election is not rigged, it's not going to be funny. He's going to win this election in a landslide. But in his zeal to be available and be transparent, he may sometimes be coming out unprepared. Unprepared with things I know he knows and he could do better with. Certain interviews, it may be okay for him to demand of the press what the talking points are going to be. There's nothing wrong with that. And if questions come up outside those talking points, he should walk around them. That's what presidential candidates all over the world do. Biden, Trump, the Prime Minister of Britain, Putin, all of them, Obasanjo, Jonathan, all of them. You don't have to answer every question unless you're categorically clear that you're going to address that question conclusively. Because we don't expect you, Peter Obi, to know everything. Nobody knows everything. But as president, you're going to have the resources to hire the best people to know everything and research those things and bring them to you and prepare you before you go out. The press is setting you up, Mr. Obi, and you have to be careful not to take their bait. Don't fall into their trap. Because the same press you think you're trying to impress by answering their call are the same ones who are trying to crucify you while they don't even have access to Tinubu and Atiku to ask them the same questions, let alone set them up to come out and nail them on those things. I say this because of some of the answers I heard you give on certain topics on your TV interviews, but I don't say it to indict you. I'm a big fan, and I'm not a fan because I'm trying to be a fan. I'm a fan because I know that you and Dati Ahmed are prepared and have the mind, the will, and the ability to unite Nigerians and build our country back to what it should be. And to the press, I say, it's okay, you're doing your job. But while you're doing your job, can you go out of your way to say that Peter Obi answers your call and Atiku and Tinubu especially have refused to answer your call, and question them for not answering the call and question what they're hiding? But you go every opportunity to find out what Peter Obi is doing wrong. I think you're right in doing that. I want to be sure that the man I'm supporting is who I think he is. So I thank you for going the extra mile to dig out the things you want to dig out on him. But since Tinubu has been avoiding coming out, the day he finally comes out, can the press promise us that they are going to ask him thoroughly about his health, that they are going to ask him thoroughly about his wealth and his sources of wealth, that they are going to ask him thoroughly about his indictment in Chicago and the plea bargain he made and the $700,000 plus he paid as a plea bargain to quell the case. Are you going to ask him again? Yes, he never ran for president. Even if you've asked it before, ask it more clearly because he has never categorically answered it. Are you going to ask him about his high school degree, his elementary school, which high school he went to, which university he went to? All those questions need to be asked. Because I've seen people digging up about Peter Obi, whether a T was crossed, where he got his degree from. Ask those same questions about Bola Ahmed Tinubu. I've seen you ask Peter Obi questions about the Pandora Papers. Ask Bola Ahmed Tinubu about the drug trafficking in Chicago. Ask him about Lagos State wealth over the last 22 years. You know more things to ask him than I do. So I don't need to do that job for you. You do it for yourself. The next thing I'd like to address is the garbage about who the front runner is in this election. Make no mistakes about it. The front runner in this election is Peter Obi. Bola Ahmed Tinubu and Atiku Abubakar are running behind, trying to see if they could salvage some kind of respectability when the final result is called. And I like to let Nigerians know that I'm not one of those who back parties. I back candidates. I live in the United States. I'm an independent. I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. The same applies in Nigeria. And I say that to say that as much as we're backing Peter Obi, APC is not all bad. PDP also is not all bad. The flag bearers for APC and PDP have been too involved with the problems that got us to the hole we are in today. They may have good intentions if we give them an opportunity this time around. But the question that I have for Nigerians is, why should we reward people who have closed their eyes to everything that hurt us the last 22 years? And when they want to be president, they are telling us to forgive them, that they are going to do right this time. Do you forgive an armed robber because he went to church on Sunday and decided, okay, forgive me, I'm no longer going to steal, but make me the bank manager? That's not how it works. But having said that, I know that there are some good people in APC and PDP. And let's not paint a broad brush and assume that every PDP and APC person is bad. Let's not even assume that every Labour Party candidate is good. Let's take them individually. I'm talking about taking them individually. I want to play you a soundbite from the governor of Edo State, Governor Obaseki, about what he said about fairness in Nigeria. No, I didn't say that Obaseki endorsed Peter Obi. I said, listen to his position on fairness. It gives you an idea which way he's going to go in these coming elections and how he's going to let Edo people make their own decision and not try to force down their throat something that's not good for them. After all, we know that Edo no be Lagos. Listen to Governor Obaseki, then we'll take it up after that.
For us in Edo, it's about Nigeria first. Whatever we're doing politically must be one that will strengthen and preserve our country. And our view is that this country, Nigeria, cannot be preserved and sustained if there's no fairness and equity. Because we need that unity. We need to realize that as a country, we all must feel that we are part of this country and have access and opportunities like any one of us. So as we look towards 2023, we must understand that for us to preserve our country, all parts of this country must feel included in the politics. A situation where any part, any unit, any zone is left out, is not considered as if it is fit or has what it takes to provide leadership in this country, we are only setting a basis for crisis. We must have a situation where there is adequate consultation, where there are adequate consultations across the various groups, across the divide, so that we can build, if you don't even call it a consensus, but build an alignment to produce a leadership that can take Nigeria out of the crisis we face today. Anything that is not inclusive, Edo is not part of it. Because Edo wants us to build a strong, united country so that we can face the challenges ahead of us.
Folks, you heard Governor Obaseki. He said, and I quote, "For us in Edo, it's about Nigeria first. Everything we do has to be about what will preserve Nigeria's national interest." Guys, he's a PDP member. So why would you just write off PDP completely? Going into this election, we already know that Labour Party is not going to be able to win enough seats in the Senate and the House and the governor's mansions and the local governments and all that to be able to be the dominant party to force their policies. What we know is that if we focus on electing conscientious Nigerians across the board, regardless of which party, a conscientious PDP member, and they do exist. We already saw Governor Obaseki. Until recently, we knew that Enyinnea Baribe was a PDP person. We already saw the young man running for governor in Lagos State. I forgot his name, but it's okay. And in APC, they have people like Ogbonneyono. Yes, he's in APC. We can't all be in ABGA. We can't all be in Labour Party. let's look for conscientious candidates across the board and not only vote for them, but as constituents, demand from them what we want over the next 4 years. I thank Governor Obaseki for having the guts to go in front of a mic and say those things that he said. And as we move towards 2003, just like I play sound bites to support what I'm saying, I hope you are listening to my sound bites. I'm not always correct. I'm willing to take it back if I'm wrong. But I hope you are listening to my sound bites to see that this Nigeria that we live in is big enough for all of us, even some who have made stupid decisions. And I'll conclude on this note, talking about making proper decisions and putting the country first above your own personal interest. I'll bring up the video that went viral about former Senator Emeka Ihedioha, who was a short-term governor of Imo State. In that video, he more or less implored people in Imo State to vote for PDP. There's nothing wrong with that. Emeka Ihedioha is a PDP member. It will be counter to anything that makes sense for him to be out there campaigning for Peter Obi. However, where I think that Emeka Ihedioha went wrong is when he said that people who do not vote PDP should be considered saboteurs. He has come back on Arise TV and tried to spin it. Makes sense. He should spin it. But we are not stupid. We know what we heard. But also, in the place where Peter Obi and Dati Ahmed are like idols. He's telling that crowd that Peter Obi cannot win this election. I'm glad I'm concluding on this note because I'm also glad that the video that I'll play you of the person who challenged Emeka Ihedioha is not an Igbo person. So listen to, again, a lady I'm fast becoming one of her biggest fans, Aisha Yesufu. Listen to her retort to Emeka Ihedioha.
Emeka Ihedioha, you call citizens saboteurs because they dare to vote for good governance, accountability, and transparency. You call citizens saboteurs because they dare to go with a candidate who is competent, who has character and capacity. You are sitting down there and telling people that, that after Atiku Abubakar, it will be the turn of Igbo. No, it will be your turn. That's why you want people to go that way, even when they consider there's a better candidate who happens to come from their region. We are not saboteurs. You are the saboteur. You and your ilks are the saboteurs of Nigeria. those who have held our country back, those who have done only that which is in their interest, those who have not had the backing of the people, have not had the backing of the people from their own place and from other places. You that have continuously kept every one of us down so that you will be the only one who is riding at the top. And it's so angering you guys today that you're not the ones that people are rallying around. We are not saboteurs. You are the saboteurs of this nation. They have refused to allow us be the great nation that we're supposed to be. Those of you that have focused only on yourselves and your families and your cronies and your stooges and the people around you, you are the saboteurs. We are not the saboteurs, and we'll continue to support Peter Gregory Obi. Yes, we are from Edo. We are from Lagos, we are from Adamawa, we are from Kano, we are from Katsina, we are from Kaduna, we are from Borno, we are from Adamawa, we are from Cross River, we are from Rivers, we are from Delta, we are from all over Nigeria and Nigerians that are not in Nigeria. Yes. And if you call us saboteurs, yes, let us be the saboteurs for bad governance. Let us be the saboteurs for the killings that have been going on. Let us be the saboteurs to all the evil, the corruption, the lack of good quality education, the lack of development, the lack of employment. We are saboteurs to all those things. We will work for a nation that works for all of us. We will work for a nation where the child of nobody can become somebody without knowing anybody. That we will continue to repeat until it gets into you people's heads that indeed Nigerians, we are tired. We are tired of being your slaves. We are freeing ourselves so that our children will not be slaves to your own children. That's what you guys want to entrench. You want to continue to entrench this. You sit down there, a man like you comes to you and look at you and tell you that until he finishes his own presidential tenure before your whole region can get one. And instead of you to sit down and be ashamed, instead of you to sit down and be angry, instead of you to sit down and look him in the eye and say, what rubbish is that? You're going around and telling your people that, oh, they are saboteurs because you are waiting. If you think say you be slave, not be everybody think say them be slave. So that's saboteuring. We would saboteur all those bad things that have been happening.
Wow. Again, I start to sound like a broken record when I bring up these sound bites from Aisha Yesufu. And all I have to add to that is thank you, Aisha. And there's something telling me that Edo State is fast becoming Nigeria's center of open-minded democracy. Thank you, Aisha Yesufu. Thank you, Governor Obaseki. And as I draw to concluding this presentation today, I want to again say what I've said so many times before about southwestern Nigeria and this election being in their hands. Southwestern Nigeria has been deprived since 2007 from voting who they choose to vote for. The elections have been shamefully rigged in that region. In 2023, election results are going to be transmitted electronically. I don't have to remind you that we could go back and look at the antecedents that led to the election and you'll see what I'm saying. I don't have to remind you that in 2007, 2011, 2015, and 2019, that PDP won Lagos State. And Lagos State results were rigged by you-know-who. The progressive Yorubas in southwestern Nigeria hold the key to bringing about a smooth transition to fairness in Nigeria. Papa Awolowo who we all respect, was a progressive Nigerian and a progressive Yoruba man. He only decided to play Tiwa politics when he saw that the people he was playing with at the national level in Nigeria were not seeing Nigeria the way he was seeing it. And like a smart regional leader, he decided to build his region first before worrying about people who are not worried about him. Papa Awolowo was not tribalistic. He was a realist and he was objective. The conservative tribalistic Southwesterners that have controlled the region for the last 22 years are tribalistic. Just like the people who have controlled southeastern state, the conservative tribalistic ones over the last 22 years are also tribalistic people. They are the ones who try to knock our heads together. They are the ones who are quick to tell you, oh, àwọn Igbo, or happen ndị mbati, ndị Yoruba. No, there is no ndị Yoruba, there is no Omo Igbo. There is we the people. There is fellow countrymen and women. And I'm appealing to progressive Yorubas in this election to lead the fight for fellow countrymen and women. Let's take Nigeria back, starting with Lagos and Southwest and the rest of the country, so that the progressive Yorubas will go back to the mission of Papa Awolowo and what he envisioned for Yoruba land and for Nigeria, because we can do it. Our youth have woken up. Our youth are rebelling against their tribalistic parents. The older progressives need to join hands with the youth and take our country back to where it should be. And let me end on this note. For all you tribalistic conservative Nigerians, Igbo, Yoruba, Fulani, whoever you are, I'd like to ask you this question as I conclude. In whose image and whose character would you like your son to grow up? Would you like your son to grow up with the character and image and ethics of Peter Obi and Dati Ahmed? Or would you like your son to grow up in the image and character of Shetima and Bola Ahmed Tinubu? That's a rhetoric question. The answer is up to you. The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind. And I'm going to leave you with some videos just to play out this presentation. But it's videos to show you the kind of support Dati Ahmed and Peter Obi are getting across the country, while the press are still calling them the third force. They are the main force. Let's not let them fool us. Let's go out and put Peter Obi and Dati Ahmed in office. And after we do that, I'll go back to Bull Talk on Allen TV, talking about other topics. For now, what's important is that we put the right people in office in February 2023. Thank you very much. Once again, this is Fred Wankwo coming to you from our studios in Chicago. Thank you and good night.